Thanks for letting us have this opportunity to be heard. I'm here today because the renters of LA's 9 public gardens feel that we were really denied our rights to a proper public forum in the discussion of this rental fee increase. The fee increase feels like it's been handled, whether intentionally or not, in a slightly unethical way, because it feels like it was done in secrecy. It was done without our knowledge or our input or really good information of the very people that the increase in fact affects. I think we all know that the gardening plots need to be adjusted somewhat, but seriously, a 500% increase, and without a public forum, and an increase that maybe you discussed it 9 months ago, you passed it without our knowledge 6 months ago, and to this very day, no one in the gardens has been notified in writing, and it's already been enacted. It was such an increase that the supervisors of the gardens decided not to even inform us or hint at it. We heard it through a leak, because then the compost would hit the fan. And it has. It's been in all of the media. This is an untenable increase. And we've been told a lot of it has to do with the cost of water, and I do understand that. If you took every single one of the plots in the 9 public gardens and you laid them out side by side, they wouldn't take up the land area made up by the Sepulveda golf course alone. Yes. One golf course, an area which is watered each and every day and which serves relatively few people compared with water use. Course users didn't get a 500% increase. They did get an increase, but it wasn't 500%. Our gardens are watered by the city, overhead watering very inefficiently, 1 time a week, and in the winter, most of us don't water at all. Primarily, our gardening communities are composed of senior citizens who are people on fixed incomes who garden as therapy for arthritis, depression, for a place to belong, for a place to grow healthy food that doesn't come out of a can or a bag, for me to teach my daughter for the past 8 years now that carrots don't grow in Ralph's.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate you coming here. As to the notice, I'm informed that there were notices were posted in writing at the gardens in early November. As to our meeting at which we decided this, we're governed by the open meetings law of the state of California, which we observe assiduously. And even if we ever had a whisper of a thought we wouldn't observe it assiduously, we have 2 members of the city attorney's office here who make sure we observe it, even more assiduously than assiduously. So this was fully as open as every other increase. This increase was part of many increases that we were required to make last year. Full notice was given. I can't guarantee when we give notice that everyone in the city notices the notice, but it was not unethical. And I appreciate people coming down here to seek to persuade us about their concerns, because we share their concerns. Insulting us, though, is not a good strategy. We're not acting unethically. And incidentally, as one is speaking to us and being given a public hearing, it is strange to be at the same time in the same breath accused of not giving a public hearing. Next speaker.
India Ludueña, followed by Stephen Box, Al Wayne, Lisa Carnahan, and lastly Mary Tobita. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is India Ludueña. I'm the garden president at Solano Canyon Community Garden. I'm not here to argue against the fee increase, because there are people here with facts and figures that can do that a lot better than I can. What I am here to tell you is that if your goal is to generate revenue, as far as my garden is concerned, you've most likely failed. The feedback I've received so far from the gardeners, and it's been very little, most of them are just going to slink away, is that they're not going to be able to afford to garden with me next year. So if you're hoping for $120 per plot from my garden, you're probably not going to get it. It might just be me and 1 or 2 other people. So I wanted to let you know that if that's your goal, most likely you didn't succeed.
Thank
I
you.
do appreciate you giving us this chance to speak, though.
Thank you for coming to speak.
Stephen Box, followed by Al Renner.
Morning, Commissioner. My name is Stephen Box. I live in Hollywood. I'm running for City Council, Council District 4. Very proud to live in Council District 4, which is also the home of the Waddles Farm, which is a wonderful asset. And I'd like you to consider, as you evaluate the subject, and by the way, thank you very much for deferring the increase until you can have a further hearing. I'd like you to consider this topic as not one of cost recovery, but one of asset protection. And community gardens are much more than a simple opportunity to evaluate the cost of watering. If you think about the many benefits that the community gardens bring to our community, you'll see that it's not quite so simple as what's the cost of water, but what's the economic benefit to our communities? What's the environmental benefit to our communities? What's the educational benefit to our communities? What's the public health impact to our communities? What's the community building impact in our neighborhoods? And what's the water reclamation impact in our neighborhood? On my street, there's a small garden being built, and kids are being trained to garden, and they're going to be given little grants so that they can go and to take the knowledge that they pick up from participating in a small gardening project at the end of a street, an area that was once blighted and is now beautiful. And it causes people in our neighborhood to go for a walk every day now, to go and look to see how the garden's doing, how the kids are doing. And so I ask you to consider the dramatic impact to our community of the community gardens versus the relatively small cost that you're attempting to cover here. And you can break it down to 30 cents a day, but I assure you, when you introduce the notion of infinity, when you were making that one comment, that's the impact we have in our communities. It's an infinitesimal positive impact. And I'd ask you to support the community gardens. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks for your comments. Go ahead.
Good morning, and thank you for taking the complaints or the concerns of the community garden. My name is Al Renner, and I'm the Executive Director for the Los Angeles Community Garden Council. And our concern is not for just these gardens, but all our gardens. But I happen to garden in one of these gardens. And so, to try to be concise, our issues were due process. I would venture to say that 80% of the gardeners do not look at the internet. There is no way that this information could have gotten out so we could have been here to speak. It's not no way, it just didn't happen. And I already appreciate that the fact that you're going to consider and rediscuss this issue. That was one of mine. I would like to ask the parks people, what specific park model did you use to come up with this fee increase? Where did you get your information? That I would like for us to know. And now, let's get down to the fee increase. I can only speak for the Sepulveda Garden. However, I am a member of Solano Garden, and I can get to there. With that fee increase, you have a 10 by 20 plot, 200 square feet, at $150 a year. That's $7.5 cents per square
I think it's
foot.
$125, just for the record.
All right, then we'll make that down a little lower. It'll make it about 6 cents per square foot. We have 2 community gardens in the city who do this by the square foot because property is there. It's not even near that. When you calculate that out, and especially on the Solano Canyon farm, we have a farm, we have education programs, we only have about 30 gardeners. So are we going to be charged 6 cents for every square foot of our land that we, in our education program where we have interns, we work with restaurants? You did not consider these things.
Thank you.
And
Thank you very much. In connection, Mr. Mupri, with the report you've asked for, could you please be sure that we're giving comparable numbers in other jurisdictions and so on, and also consideration as to different configurations of the various plots under our jurisdiction? Thank you very much.
Mary Tobita? followed by Sharon Brewer.
From my garden.
This is from Solano Canyon. Hi, my name's Mary Takita, and I'm the president of the LA Community Garden Council. We are a very small grassroots organization responsible for about 15 garden projects in LA County right now. We are, some of the gardens you're talking about, it's like a checkerboard of agreements over time that we're talking about. We understand that. We also understand some gardens have water meters installed that calculate the usage for each garden plot. Some have none. There's no communication in some gardens. It's extremely communicative in others. What we're asking for is that food's only one, as Al mentioned, is only one aspect of having gardens in parks and neighborhoods. That's really critical for some people, as you're hearing today. But we just really are on the same page with you, wanting an equitable analysis of what the appropriate costs are at each garden, and then hammering out how each stakeholder can step forward and cover their own share of that. Because what we've got is a lot more benefit, a bounty of programming and impact across neighborhoods. Law enforcement really likes our presence in communities. Lee Baca is a good friend of Gov Gardens, as our local law enforcement throughout the county. They all know that once a garden goes in, crime goes down. Apologize, I ran out to get some vegetables. I'm still catching my breath. I got called a little quicker than I thought. We also want to understand that it takes time to figure these things out. It takes input from community, which you're hearing today, and we're so glad you're welcoming that input. But it's a little bit messier than just issuing orders top down. It's a collaborative process. I've heard that word several times today. It very much encourages me.
Okay, thank you.
You're
And
welcome.
you grew, these are from your plant?
This is actually from Al's farm,
Al, the gentleman
right
just spoke.
near Dodger Stadium
Okay, they're
downtown.
beautiful, beautiful vegetables. Thank you, Al.